Welcome back to another Monday Motivation. Hey everyone, welcome back to another Monday Motivation. Hope you're going really well. You might have seen the previous Monday Motivation how a lot of people use this as the biggest challenge is I don't have time. I'm really busy. So they don't make great decisions in the now because it makes sense to not do it if you're busy. But what I want to teach you is consequence-based thinking. And what this will allow you to do is unlock great decisions, because you know what I'm all about. Quite ironic. You don't actually need any more motivation. You actually need more discipline. I thought that's where the buck stopped, but really what I'm saying is if you want more discipline, discipline in and of itself doesn't mean anything. What discipline is there for is it allows you to make better decisions. So this theory I've come across from a guy called Ray Dalio. I'm sure he didn't invent it. I'm sure it's been around forever, but Ray Dalio, a book called Principles, would recommend. But he says it in a slightly different way, but I want to apply it to really the context of sales here for you. So consequence-based thinking is the trap that most people get caught into is they only ever make a decision based on now, rather than thinking about the flow-on effect, the ripple effect, the consequences of that decision in the now. Because let's face it, every single decision that you make is like throwing a rock into a pond. That moment of decision when it hits the water is just now, but it always has a ripple effect. There's a consequence for everything you do. Like literally everything you do, everything you think, everything you say, every action you take has a consequence, yet most people don't think about that. So the consequence of now is where people just make rash decisions and make potentially poor decisions, even if it makes sense. So I'll give you an example of this, okay? So this is the first order, this is the first consequence. Bad food tastes good. Now a lot of people will eat bad food today, because let's face it, bad food does taste good. I'm on this like health kick thing. I'm telling you right now, a big juicy burger tastes a whole lot better than some like rye bread, okay? So if you only ever think about first order consequence or the now consequence, it actually makes sense for you to eat bad food. Why? Because it tastes good. So if all you're ever thinking about, I want to eat stuff that tastes good, well, that makes perfect sense. But what's the second order consequence, or what's a little bit into the future? Well, if you continue to eat bad food, what you're going to end up with is an unhealthy lifestyle. Okay, so if you eat juicy burgers every single day, every one of them is going to taste good, but eventually you're going to lead an unhealthy lifestyle. And if you continue to lead an unhealthy lifestyle, what you're going to find is you're going to end up with illness or the worst state of your life. Okay, so the people that think about second and third order consequence might actually choose or make a better decision when it comes to their eating habits, because not only are they thinking, okay, bad food tastes good, but they're also like, okay, what does this mean for me? And what does that mean for me ultimately in the future? The other example we're talking about is I'm too busy. I'm too busy to make follow-up calls. I'm too busy to make outbound calls. I'm too busy to sit down and communicate. I'm too busy to strategize. That makes sense. If you only ever think about first order consequences in now, totally makes sense. If you're already too busy, why would you want to add more to your workload? So nobody ever does it. But if you think about the second order consequence, if you're too busy to strategize, to do outbound calls, what's that going to mean for you? Ultimately, it's going to mean less sales. If you lack direction, you don't know where you're going, and you're not making the proactive activity to make sales and do sales-related activity, you're gonna get less sales. And then if that continues to happen, you continue to do less sales, guess what you get? Decline in business. Add time and stir to that one, and then you've got death. Essentially, business gone. So what you're saying to me, if you say, I'm too busy to do this, Steve, what you're really saying is, I'm so busy that I want to make less sales so that eventually my business goes bust. Think about the context. Think about all of it together so that when you're making a decision in the now, it has the consequential future in mind. And guess what that happens? When that happens, not only do you increase your wisdom, but you gain responsibility. You take responsibility for the future. Those who are responsible will always be more resourceful and get better results than those that don't take any responsibility. That's a fact. That's irrefutable logic. So here's what I want you to do. Anytime you get caught up in the trap of these type of things that make sense in the moment, ask yourself, what's the flow-on effect? What's the ripple effect? What's the second and third order consequence that'll help you make better decisions, wise decisions that I guarantee in the next 3, 6, 12, 24 months, 10 years, if you stick at it, if you play the game long enough, you're gonna thank yourself for it. You just will. So there it is. Hope it helps you. Hope it gets rid of this too busy thinking. So yeah, there it is. Anyway, I can help you in the meantime. Say the word, shoot me an email. Happy to help, and we'll see you next week for another Monday Motivation.